Steph's got it. 8 seconds. The three to win the game.
Steph Curry is 35 years old. Guys, Steph Curry is 35 and he's still making plays that no one else in the NBA can make. Because not only did he hit the game-winning three, but just 40 seconds before that, he did this.
Curry three.
Yeah, there's something different about this Golden State Warriors team. I know it's just preseason, but with no Kevon Looney or Draymond Green and Klay Thompson shooting 2 of 10 from the field, the Dubs still managed to come back from 18 points down to beat the Sacramento Kings. And you want to take a guess who led that comeback? It wasn't just Steph, but he had some help from Chris Paul. Because in the first game with CP3 backing up Steph, it looked like everything we could have hoped for, with the duo combining for 43 points and 14 assists on 14 of 24 shooting, and 11 of 15 from 3. Now just to give you guys an idea of how much impact CP3 had down the stretch, when Paul entered the game, the Dubs were trailing 100-91 with just over 5 minutes remaining. They then scored 25 points in the next 5.5 minutes, outscoring the Kings by 10. Watch this play where Klay gives the ball up to Chris with 3 seconds left on the shot clock, so he sidesteps Fox before knocking down the 3. Or 40 seconds later, where CP3 does CP3 things, getting the switch onto Sabonis before hitting the step back midi right in his face. But he wasn't done there, because the very next possession down the floor, this time Saric sets the screen for Steph. CP3 hits him, and at that point Steph discards Herter with a pump fake before knocking it down. Steph Curry did what Steph Curry did down the stretch of this game, and we'll talk more about his impact. Don't worry, but you saw the benefit of having an extra ball handler and shot creator to take some of the pressure off Steph, and those were just a few examples. If you look at the rest of the game, the Dubs have found their blueprint for destroying opposition benches, because the pick and roll partnership between him and Dario Saric isn't just going to be good, it's going to be straight up unfair when they are coming up against other teams' second units. Like here where Saric sets the screen out top, CP3 draws the 2 defenders before diming up Saric, who is there for the easy floater. Or later in the second quarter, where again, it's a pick and roll. CP3 once again gets 2 feet in the paint, which draws Sabonis, so he finds Saric for the and one. But it's this play right here that really emphasizes the difference between CP3 and most other point guards in this league. Watch Chris just hesitate for a second with the between the legs dribble, giving Saric enough time to get downhill before finishing cleverly. And this right here was the biggest takeaway from the Dubs win over the Kings. We all know how good Steph Curry is, but you are telling me when he goes to the bench, the Warriors no longer look like a G League team, but in fact actually have the potential to outplay teams with him off the floor. That's a game changer. And Steve Kerr realizing that he should encourage CP3 to play his game is a big reason for the performance you just saw.
And I told him we need him to be himself. You know, he's trying to fit in. Sometimes we just need him to go take 4 mid-range jumpers in a row if the defense is playing a certain way.
But we need to talk a bit more about his pick and roll partner, because he's much more than just a guy that sets screens and rolls to the basket. He's also capable of dropping absolute dimes, like on this play where he finds Klay backdoor, or in this play where he finds GP2 in traffic. Despite GP2 missing that shot, those are the kind of looks that Saric is going to be able to drop off to the likes of Kuminga, Moody, and GP2 on a consistent basis, because he's able to get the ball at the 3-point line and then see everything that's happening, and also has the skill to make the right pass. It's still not guaranteed that CP3 comes off the bench, but I can say for certain the Warriors now have 5 guys who you can trust every single night to perform off the bench, which is compared to maybe 2 from last season, and that's not including a certain rookie that absolutely clamped Domantas Sabonis. What if I told you Trayce Jackson-Davis held Domantas Sabonis to 4 of 10 shooting and just 12 points in 34 minutes of play? This right here is what happens when you draft a ready-made NBA player in the second round. Trayce might not have NBA experience, but even a player like Sabonis isn't going to be able to bully him. Just watch this play. Trayce slides over to guard him in the pick and roll, before then turning his body and quickly managing to go vertical, protecting the rim from the Sabonis bucket. bucket. And you know Trace was doing a good job because he forced Sabonis to be even more aggressive, which resulted in him coming up with offensive fouls like here, where Sabonis throws not one, but 2 elbows, creating 0 separation in the process and getting whistled for the offensive foul. But what made Trace's performance truly exceptional was the fact he not only played great defense against an all-NBA big in a very competitive game, but offensively, he showed exactly what he can give you, using his size and athleticism to score in the pick and roll, or even catch lobs, whilst also showcasing his touch around the rim that you don't always see from guys his size. Like on this play where Wiggs finds him in the pick and roll, Trace absorbs the Sabonis contact before rolling it in for the and one. All I'm saying is, I much prefer watching Trace Jackson Davis and Dario Saric play backup minutes as opposed to what the Dubs could have got out of an old, washed Dwight Howard. Now speaking of washed, that Steph Curry guy. Yeah, he's pretty washed, isn't he? I mean, I already showed you what he did in the 4th quarter, but in typical Steph fashion, he was making ridiculous plays all game long. I mean, watch this play. With 7 seconds left on the shot clock, Saric falls over in a crowd of defenders, and the possession looks cooked. Except when you have Steph Curry, who grabs the ball, kicks it out to Wiggs before circling around, getting it back, and hitting a step-back 3 right in Fox's face with 1 second left. If I sound out of breath trying to explain that, imagine trying to guard it. How does the ball go from here to here in the space of 5 seconds and still result in a bucket? And when he's not making crazy relocation threes, then he's just simply cooking opposition defenders off the dribble. Like here where Harrison Barnes has the unenviable task of trying to stick with Steph, and to absolutely no one's surprise, he gets flamed. Steph Curry is the only player in the NBA that can make a preseason game feel like a playoff game. He's just that good, and it looks like he's going to have much more help this season than he did last year. Because I haven't even mentioned that Jonathan Kuminga has been unbelievable this preseason, and this game proved to me that he's ready to make the leap, because in what was his worst game of preseason, he still finished with 18 points, made some fantastic passes, and was engaged on defense. Imagine if I had have told you last season that an average JK performance this year would be 18 points in a Dubs win. That's the kind of level he's getting to at the moment, which isn't surprising when you consider his skill set that allows him to do everything on the floor, hitting mid-range shots, getting to the rim, and just like Dario Saric, JK was too much for the Kings to handle in the pick and roll. What makes Kuminga such a unique threat in the pick and roll is he can set the screen for Steph 30 feet from the basket, and when you give him that kind of space, he has the speed to attack downhill, getting to the rim and finishing, or creating for others. And that has helped the Dubs stay unbeaten so far in preseason.